Hello, you all. How are you doing? So, today I wanted to do something a little bit different, actually. I wanted to do a little bit more of a tuning in because I find myself being in a little bit more of an internal space and recognizing that it's like there's nothing that I want to speak to from a not that it's like I normally come from only an intellectual place, but it's almost like what I'm feeling is this more of this tuning into what is the energy? What does the energy want to say today? And I was really thinking about how so many people are really afraid of what's potentially could happen with AI. And I've heard different kind of acronyms, I guess you could say, for like a different kind of intelligence, right? So that there's artificial intelligence, and maybe the human represents the ancient intelligence. Or I heard yesterday, instead of transhumanism, there's the rev humanism, which is really about the not the revelation, but it's like there's some kind of Latin base to that word, but it's really about returning to all of the amazing, incredible inner technology that we have. And that actually that is so potent and so powerful. And we're really at a choice point right now, whether we want to go down that path of becoming more robot, you could say, more machine, and or going down the path of really connecting to our inner nature and our outer nature. And as I've been kind of sharing over these last couple of weeks, it's like tuning into our intuition, awakening what has been dormant in us. We have all of these natural innate abilities within us, but they're just simply dormant. But what happens is that when we don't go inwards and be still enough to listen, to connect again, we outsource our power. We give our power to other people, or we might hand it over to technology. And then what does that mean? And I was listening to this woman speak about, I think she's a quantum physicist, and she was talking about how, we have this, like, some people are like, wow, amazing. You might be able to like upload your brain to the cloud, right? And then you can live forever. Not realizing the irony is that we already have that. We already have that technology. And what I mean by that is that when we leave the body, our consciousness comes with us, right? Our consciousness doesn't leave. And if you watch any of these near-death experience videos, they will say they pop out and it's like, oh, but they didn't even recognize it at first because it's like, oh, I have the same thoughts. I have the same feelings. I'm the same person, right? But I'm just not that body. So I have the desire to tune into what's happening in the field right now, because I feel like that really is the way to move forward if we want to remain in contact with our embodiment, with the human as the vehicle, and to not only awaken, but to fine tune and to strengthen our innate, remarkable abilities. So, a huge part of that is intuition. But intuition means like stay in your body, come into your heart, feel, listen. It's not really an intellectual thing, it's an embodiment thing. So, yeah, let's see where it takes us. All right, let's dive in. This is Corinne Bloom, and you're listening to Raw Conversations. So, this is maybe kind of along the lines what I would do with a soul reading is to tune in and tap in. But I'm going to do it in a very different way. I've never really done this before. So, we're going to kind of, experiment, see where it goes and see what wants to come through, with the intention being how what can help us and guide us into trusting our own inner technology. And I know that's such a kind of weird word, but it's maybe better said like trusting our natural innate human design, and also our soul imprint, and all of the kind of templates that come with that. So Yeah, so bear with me for a moment while I just tune in, and I encourage you, if you feel, to just close your eyes with me and take in a deep breath and letting it go. And just landing if you can, if you're not driving. If you're driving, just listen in. And you can always do this at a later point. But if you're in a space where you can, just bringing your awareness down into your body and really feeling into the sensations of your body, feeling the parts that have tension, feeling the parts that might feel uncomfortable, noticing even where your focus of attention is. Maybe it's up in your thoughts, maybe it's above your head, maybe it's around the room, maybe it's somewhere else, maybe it's with someone else. So pull it all back in and just setting the intention and telling yourself, be here now. I am here now, in this now moment, with presence, with awareness, in the awareness of not only my human self, but my soul self, my true self. So I feel this well of emotion that comes up around the heart. And it's this bittersweet, because it's like this the bitter is the fringes of what you could call darkness. That's kind of around the frame right now. That is the suffering and the hardships and the challenge and the crumbling and the old coding is the word that comes in of war and destruction and division and hatred. And then around that there's this kind of like gray film that is this part that's like, oh, we're really bored of that now. We're really, really bored of that. We've played that kind of game for a long time, and we're not really learning, growing, or evolving through it or out of it anymore. Like there's this kind of like everything goes a little bit just not black and white, but gray. It's dulled, it's dimmed. It feels, yeah, boring. Boring is the word that really comes through. And then where there was this well of emotion in the heart was this like beautiful sparkling light, almost with a kind of butterfly feeling, where there's this lightness and this brightness. And I don't want to say, it's not the word hope, because hope often comes from despair. It's this feeling of aliveness. It's like this belief that, like, yes, life exists and life is constantly regenerating itself. There's constantly that point of regrowth and continual growth. It's not even regrowth, because it's a continual growth. It's a continual cycle that maybe it appears to be the death of something and the rebirth of something, but that's actually just the natural cycle of life and existence. Much like out of winter, it's more a time of dormancy. It seems like everything is dying, but it's this real internal where the energy is reserved and preserved. And then once the energy is there to fully come back into that life and that vitality, the blossoms bloom again. So that feeling in the heart is really the collective heart that is, it's like it's found its beat again. It's wanting to find its beat again. And it's wanting to really emerge and embody life as we know that I normally don't use this word, but as we know it should be, from a higher perspective, which is one of like great creativity and collaboration and community. I just see people with like smiles and I see nature and I see that golden, beautiful, golden, sparkly light. And it's this, yeah, it's very interesting. It's no longer the kind of despair, not to say that there still isn't despair, but it's no longer that kind of like being pulled into the drama of the darkness, being pulled into the old template of war and division and aggression and right and wrong. And righteousness and the division and duality of opinions and beliefs and dogmas and all of these things. It's no longer caught in that drama. It's almost as if it's been pulled out of that web, or pulled out of that matrix, if you will. And there isn't even the resistance to it anymore. There isn't even just the like, no, this is awful and terrible, and what do we do about it, and how do we make something different, and how do we combat it, how do we fight it, what, the revolution, all of this. It's like I'm so uninterested in it that I don't even notice it anymore. And I want to, this asterisk is coming in of like, not spiritual bypassing. It's literally like this, the way that I see it right now is that in the forefront are people smiling in the brightness of the sun and the spring, like that green of spring in the, growing up around. And I see flowers and I see butterflies and I see children running like barefoot on the ground. And it's almost like as if it were like an anime sketch. There's like dark black buildings that are kind of grayed over. The sky is gray, but it's really just like a little tiny sliver of the image on the bottom right corner. And it's like the background. It's not the foreground. And basically what that signifies as I look into that is just, we don't need to be there anymore. We don't need to do that anymore. We don't need to give our focus to it. That's what it is. It's in the background and it's in the bottom right corner. Our focus is forward. Our focus isn't turned around and looking at that. Our focus isn't feeding that. It's this just, no, I'm opening up my heart and I'm choosing life. I'm choosing all that is alive. I'm choosing all as sentient. And it's not to say that like form or image that's in the background doesn't have sentience within it either, but it's not alive. And to clarify what that means, it's like, when you're in a state where you just feel flat, you feel dull, you feel bored, maybe you feel depressed. What's lacking is that feeling of aliveness. I want to feel alive. And often, like when I've been in those spaces myself, that feeling of aliveness can come through such a simple moment of seeing something in nature that's so beautiful, seeing the color of the sea, seeing the colors of the sunset, hearing a beautiful bird song, feeling a warm breeze, like, move through your hair. It's like such a simple moment of aliveness. It's something that's pure and real and in the moment, and it has no agenda and it has no place that it needs to get to, and it has no expectation, and it's not doing anything other than being and existing and breathing and evolving through that moment. Nowhere to go, nowhere to do, no one to be. It just is. And in that, the beauty of that isness is like, it's just full of that vitality and that energy, which is the source of all of creation. It is the source of all oneness. Call it God, call it source, call it spirit, call it creator, call it universe, call it love, call it consciousness. It doesn't matter. It doesn't require a name. It's a feeling. And it's often that feeling that we're reaching for. And we've been the words that come through are manipulated, coerced, distracted. It's literally like the pulling of our attention into the screen, going, look here, this is what's going to make you feel alive. This is what's going to give you that dopamine hit. This is what's going to make you feel connected. Come into your phone, come into your computer, come into your goggles, whatever they're called. And this is where you're going to feel connected to the world. You're going to be seen. You're going to see your friends here. You're going to find fame here. You're going to find, all the knowledge that you need to know. And it's like funneling. You know how the image that comes through is, the Death Eaters in Harry Potter, how when they're taking someone's soul, you see this like I just see the gaunt face of the Death Eaters pulling the light and pulling it down into its like dark hole. And so that's what these things are doing, is it's like pulling our soul, which is really powerful. It's pulling our soul into these kind of black holes. Now I have this like voice that says, okay, wait a second, but black holes aren't necessarily evil. It's what you do with the black hole. A black hole can be, it's the paradox of life. A black hole can be the source of all creation, the void, which is fully alive, or it can be the destruction. And it's almost like, it's not the end because nothing ever dies. Nothing ever dies. But it's like this, almost like I see it like this big weight that just goes clunk at the bottom of a dark basement. And it's still there, it still exists, but it's stagnant. There's nothing regenerative about it, right? It's just this like kind of iron, like I see this old school iron weight, that's kind of not pyramid, it's flat on the top and then kind of like a pyramid. And it just sits there. And there's nothing creative about it. There's nothing regenerative about it because it doesn't have any light in it. The thing is that it can still remember. This is metaphoric, right? So let's say that represents when we are disconnected from source, when we're disconnected from light, when we're disconnected from who we truly are. I often think of, like, if I were to use terms like the devil or evil, it's that part or that entity that's forgotten that it's God, that is forgotten that it's source, that is forgotten that it's a child, you could say, of love and light and infinite possibility. And how it got there, who knows? Power, greed, could be all sorts of things, right? But all it takes to transform and alchemize something is the thought, which comes from the intention, which comes from the feeling of, I want to remember who I am. And when you go into your heart, the word that's there is like, yeah, you're God, your source, your light, your creation. You are that. You are that. And you could be in the darkest depths. You could be that big cast iron heavy weight that is just clunk at the bottom of nothingness. And you can still return home. Because all it takes is a thought, an intention, a feeling. Because it's nothing that you need to seek out there for. That's the thing, that the illusion that we're in right now is the pulling of our focus, the distraction. Come in here, look at that, listen to this. It's this out, 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 out. Come outside of yourself, but not out in nature. Come outside into a virtual reality that is made up. I mean, you could say all of this is made up, but like this is the Russian doll within the other doll, right? And it's sucking you in. But as it sucks you into that, it takes you out of you. And when you're out of you, you're out of your home, because you're leaving your heart, you're leaving your soul. So there's nowhere where you have to go. There's nowhere that you need to get to. There's no one who you need to become. It's in here. It's the inner verse, not the outer verse. The outer verse, yes, sure, cool, go explore it. It's the inner verse that counts. It's like the fractal within the fractal. Like if you look at those fractals, right? You go in and then it opens up into like a bigger version of that. You go into the smallest, it opens up into a bigger version. That is how it all functions, right? There's no inside and outside. There's no up or down. It's all constantly in movement, in breath, in evolution, you could say. And it's all connected. That is the oneness. Right? That is the oneness. So I'm being brought back to this, the vision of what I saw in the beginning of just like people smiling, children running around laughing. It's like we need to remember this. The world is so heavy. It can feel so gray. It can feel so ominous and daunting. It's an illusion that feels very real. And I know it sounds like ridiculous, but the thing that changes it is a different intention. It's a different focus. And then it's just naturally there. If you want to go into the quantum, if you want to go into parallel lives, if you want to go into multiple timelines, there literally is another one right here. And the way we reach it is a feeling state. The way we reach it is a vibration. It's a frequency. That's it. You know this because the example that I'm being given is like, let's say you wake up in the morning and you stub your toe on the side of the bed and you're like, mother, and it's just like this kind of, you choose to go into, and I say choose because it is a choice, even if it doesn't feel like it. Sometimes it is a choice. Sometimes I even recognize I have the choice and I'm like, God damn it. No, I'm going to get angry at it. I'm going to be in a bad mood. I'm going to be grumpy. It's okay. Fine. No judgment. But then your whole day kind of plays out like that, right? You keep on getting kind of stubbing your toe metaphorically on all sorts of things. And there's, you're kind of going against the grain and it feels difficult. And you get to the end of that day and go, God, I had a really bad day. Because often what happens is we fight against it. Whereas the opposite choice, or a different choice, I shouldn't say opposite, a different choice is you stub your toe and you go, God, that hurts. But you stay. You stay and you breathe and you're like, man, this is painful. That hurts. But you don't go into the story. You don't go into what it means. You just stay with the sensation. And then it clears. It goes away and you get on with your day. And you don't have to let that ruin your day, right? And then I guess another option would be you stub your toe and, you start laughing. Like, oh my God, why stub my toe? But there's humor in it, So the point is, how much are we attaching to it? And how much are we creating a story around it? And how much are we allowing something that is just an incident to affect the whole rest of not only our day, but our sense of self and our being in that day? And there's no judgment if it ruins your day, right? But we're learning to go, okay, I don't need to let that ruin my day. So similarly, I'm trying to tie this in. Let me just see what it wants to say. Similarly, right now, we can choose how we either respond versus react to what's going on in the world right now. You could be cursing at what feels sometimes like the constant boom, 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 boom against the invisible wall. Believe me, I've been there. I went into like an existential hell last week with it. Or there's this invitation to just breathe, to stop fighting it. I think this is what we're learning, is like, stop fighting it. Stop resisting. Stop. Like, you can stub your toe and really be in the toe and be like, this hurts. And like, God damn, the stupid fucking door and whatever. And we're in it. And we're in resistance. We're in contraction. Or you almost feel the pain more when you really breathe into it. But what happens is you breathe into it and it intensifies, and then it dissipates. Remember, I did a podcast on allowing. Allow, and then it alleviates and it dissipates. And then we can go into the evolution. So the invitation is to come back to play, to come back to lightness. We can focus on that bottom right corner, the darkness, the blackness. And again, it's not about spiritual bypassing. It's not about ignoring. It's just simply choosing, where do I want to place my focus? And that's quantum physics right there, right? This woman that I was listening to was saying there's actually no objectivity. There's no such thing as objective, which I thought, that's very interesting, because everything is even just slightly subjective, because when you look at it, it changes. The way I look at it will be different to the way you look at it. So what I'm being shown right now is this, the way we choose to perceive what's before and around us literally creates the coding for what that will look like. Now, there's this voice that comes in that says, but don't judge yourself if it's not looking very good. We need to get out of that. That is something that we've been taught through shame, sin, blame, guilt, that you're unworthy, that you're not lovable. And this is when we've forgotten that we are source. Because God never judges, never condemns you to hell. That is a story written by men that wanted to control humans and wanted to encage the soul. Yeah, the moment I said that, I see like birds flying out of the cage. Interestingly enough, bluebirds. I don't know why. You'd think doves. They look like doves, but they were blue. So the message is just so simple. It always is. It always, always is. Quieten your life as much as you can right now. Take as many moments as you can to come inwards. Remember your heart. Remember your heart. Remember your heart. That saying, like just for you to say that to yourself every day, most especially in the moments that you get caught up in stress or fear or anxiety, or in your head and things are spinning and you feel overwhelmed. Remember your heart. Tell yourself, remember your heart, Corinne. Remember your heart. That thought, that intention, that feeling is going to take you down the path that, if you're like me, it's not a choice that you have to take, but if you're wanting to make the choice that I'm making, that will be the path that will bring you into the aliveness of life. It will keep you in the ancient human intelligence rather than bringing you into a simulation, a synthetic form of intelligence. Use the technology, but don't let it use you. Befriend the technology, but don't let it rule you. Don't give it more power because you think it has more power than you. You have so much power. You just need to, not just you, we need to wake up from the poppy field and remember who we are. So the invitation is to do this. Literally, put your hand on your chest. Remember your heart. Remember your heart. And you can say it in either first or third person. That's what I'm hearing. You can say, okay, I need to remember my heart. I need to remember my heart. But there's something that happens when we say, remember your heart, that it's like that's the soul self speaking to the human self. Remember your heart, Corinne. I'm looking down on you. Remember your heart. That is the portal. That is the gateway. That is the umbilical cord to soul and to source. So say your name. You can either say, remember your heart, or remember your heart, whatever your name is. That's it. That's the only invitation for today and this week. It's just that simple. But what makes it powerful is doing it as often as you can. Because once you open that door, everything else that you're wanting to quote unquote work on, you will naturally and innately have the tools to be with them, because that's all it is. You don't have to work. You don't have to make better. You don't have to fix. You don't have to seal. You don't have to do all of these things. You're not a fucking construction worker. You just need to give loving attention to all parts of you. Include them, love them, embrace them, have compassion for them, have forgiveness for them. Accept yourself for who you are. Come back to heart. Be kind, be gentle, be love. That's it. You don't need to improve. You just need to be more of who you are. It's the taking away, not the trying to like build onto, right? So it's super, super simple. Do this as often as you can. Remember your heart. Remember your heart. Remember your heart. And there's just this beautiful beam of light. So much light there available for us. So much light that radiates. Imagine if everyone is connected to their heart, that like you become the sun and it shines out its rays. Imagine if everyone did that, how much light there would be. And your life can be hard. You can be not having a clue as to what you're doing and where you're going. You don't have the home. You don't have the partner. You don't have the work. You don't have the money. You don't have the this, the that, the other. Remember your heart. Remember your heart. Remember your heart. That's it. Keep on coming back to that. Include everything. It's okay. It's hard. Life is hard. It can be frustrating. It can be a struggle. There's suffering. There's loneliness. There's isolation. There's confusion. There's anxiety. It's okay. Remember your heart. Your heart can hold it all. It can hold it all as long as you see it as there's no part of you that's bad. There's no part of you that's wrong. Include it all. Love it all. You're going to be okay. Remember your heart. So taking a deep breath in, letting it go. It's all already there. It's all already here. We just have to remember it. Take moments to close your eyes. It will bring you, I've just been in a totally different place. It's like, oh, I'm back in a room now. I feel the energy. Allow yourself to be taken into your true self, into our true home, into the field, into the energy of love and light and consciousness. That never excludes the dark. It's always there saying, I'm here. When you're ready to be loved, I'm here. Light never exiles dark. It's the candle flame that walks into a dark room and lights it up. It's not interested in getting rid of the dark. It's interested in bringing the light into it so that the darkness too can feel like it's held and that it belongs and that it's loved. So if you're going through a hard time right now and there are any parts of you that you don't like, that feel sad or depressed or like even that you hate yourself, include that part too. It gets to be here. It gets to be held. It gets to be loved. There's no getting rid of. Don't exile it. It deserves your love. It deserves the love of Source God creation. Remember your heart. I'll leave you with that. As always, take it or leave it as feels right for you, and loving you from afar. Bye. Thanks for being here with me. You've been listening to Raw Conversations with Corinne Bloom. Thanks so much for showing up, listening in, and being a part of the conversation with me.